All right, so we are going to keep talking about articles this week. We have been exploring how we use the articles a, an, and the before a person, place, or thing, otherwise known as a noun. And which one of those we use depends on a couple of different things. You've learned that these words depend on general or specific people, places, and things. So, for example, when I say, I want a new phone, I'm not being specific about which phone I want. How could I change that to use the? Maybe I could say, I want the new Apple iPhone. Then I'd be much more specific about what kind of phone I'm talking about. I have a blue shirt, so not very specific. I go to the store. The rain is cold. So these two are a little bit different because when I say I go to the store, I'm not being very specific about the store I'm talking about. Maybe in the context, though, I am. And then the rain is cold. So that sounds like a present tense sentence. So clearly it's the rain that's happening there. And then. So what we're going to talk about this time is we're going to talk about examples such as these. So as opposed to the shirt and the store and the phone we talked about in the last couple of sentences, these are proper nouns. They're capitalized. So our first proper noun is Mexico. I went to Mexico last week. And then we have I swim in the Atlantic Ocean. The proper noun being Atlantic Ocean. So take a minute and look at those sentences and think about articles and consider what do you think is going on with these? So if we look at I went to Mexico, we don't say a Mexico or the Mexico, right? Because that would be kind of odd. But I do say the Atlantic Ocean. Why do you think that is? That's kind of crazy, right? Because really, there's only one Atlantic Ocean, so it's not like we have to say, "Oh, I'm not talking about that Atlantic Ocean. I'm talking about the other one." Well, I guess that's just like the rule that not every person, place, or thing needs to have an article before it. With proper nouns, sometimes we use the, and sometimes we don't. That's what we're going to look at a little bit more today. So here's our objective for the day. By the end of class, I will be able to decide when to use the before a specific person, place, or thing, or a proper noun. So let's talk about geography words, right? So names of oceans, mountains, monuments, things like that. When we talk about specific things in geography, sometimes we would use the before them and sometimes we don't. We use the when we're talking about oceans, like the Atlantic Ocean. We also use the when we talk about mountain ranges. And we use the when we talk about famous buildings or monuments. So the Rocky Mountains, I swim in the Atlantic Ocean, and I visited the Taj Mahal. Another landmark that might be more familiar to us would be like the Statue of Liberty or the Valhalla Library. Other types of geography words, we don't use the before. So that would be like a single mountain, so not a mountain range. The Rocky Mountains is a range of mountains. The Sierra Nevada mountains are a range of mountains. But if I talk about just one mountain, like Mount Everest, I don't use the. Mount Everest is tall. Lake Erie is deep. So this is kind of we're being specific. So it seems like we would want to use the article the. However, because this is a proper noun, it has special circumstance that we have to think about. Again, there's a couple other examples where we would not use the before. So if we're talking about cities, states, or countries, we do not use the in front. We live in New York City. I want to visit France. We spoke about Mexico earlier. So we are not going to say the in front of those proper nouns. However, if there are plural countries, and the countries have a plural involved, then we would use the. So it's kind of odd, right? But the United States of America, we've got United States. So the states, this is our plural. And so we need the in front. Another country is the Bahamas. So the Bahamas is in the Caribbean. It's a collection of islands. So it's a plural with an S on the end. And so we say the in front of that as well. So I'm going to write a sentence that includes the name of an ocean as an example. So let's just think of our ocean. Let's think of Pacific Ocean. So I capitalized it. Now let's write a sentence around that. How about California has a border made by the Pacific Ocean. So that's an ocean, and we need to put the in front of it. Now we're going to include the name of a city. So how about Sacramento is the capital of California. So this one's kind of interesting because I said Sacramento, the city. I didn't say the Sacramento, but I did say it was the capital of California because the capital is a very specific place. There's only one, right? But when I talk about Sacramento in proper noun form, I get rid of that the. Interesting. Let's try another one. Let's try sports teams because sports teams are proper nouns. The San Francisco Giants wear orange and black. Okay, so what did I do in front of the San Francisco Giants? I put the, right, which is interesting because I'm talking about the sports team, so I put the. But if I were to write just San Francisco, like San Francisco is in California, then we don't say the because we're referring to it as a city. So it's all about context there, right? Let's look at the next one. Write a sentence that includes the name of a famous building or monument. I already told you about the Statue of Liberty. What's another famous building that we can talk about? Or monument. It doesn't have to be a building. Well, the Golden Gate Bridge is in California. Let's do that one. The Golden Gate Bridge is red, but what did I do wrong? I did not capitalize bridge. So remember when we're doing proper nouns, all the words involved with that proper noun should be capitalized. I also, because it was a name of a monument, I put that in front. So I'm getting text messages. Sorry for that background. So reviewing what we talked about today, we learned that some proper nouns need the in front of them and some do not. We use the when we talk about specific oceans, mountain ranges, which is a group of mountains, sports teams, and monuments. We do not use the before cities, states, countries, except for countries that involve plurals, or the name of a single mountain or lake. Usually we just do these things naturally, so we don't have to think too hard about these rules, but it's kind of interesting to think about English language and why we say the things the way we say them. I don't know who made these rules about when to use the and when not to, but since everyone's been using them for so long, it sounds better when we use them right, doesn't it? So use your ears and use your eyes. All right, so when we're done with this lesson, and you're done watching this video, go ahead and you're going to do the assignment for today in your Quill activities. All right, thanks guys.